Ratatouille, Brad Bird's second Pixar effort, and while not nearly as good as his first one, it's still a pretty good film. In Paris, a rat named Remy, voiced by Patton Oswalt, has a dream of being a cook due to his highly advanced senses of taste and smell. After being separated from his colony, he ends up at the restaurant of his idol, Auguste Gusteau, where he befriends a garbage boy named Linguini, and using his hair, Remy is able to control Linguini in order to make him a star chef, infuriating the owner of the restaurant, Skinner. When you just describe the plot, this sounds really dumb. However, when put into practice and them taking the plot seriously while allowing it to develop, it actually does kind of work. This was Pixar's first film after Cars, which got decent reviews, but was their first film that you wouldn't describe as critically acclaimed. But say what you will about it, it made enough money that Disney just flat out bought them and basically let them do whatever they want. And with that, we got 3 wildly ambitious films. And of those 3, I'd say this is my least favorite, but let's get into the good stuff first. Well, the animation is great, but it's Pixar, you expect that by now. But I really do love the animation on the rats. When they're not on their hind legs, they do move exactly how real rats do. Believe me, I grew up in a rural area. I had rats and mice in my house, and when they got scared, they can be fast and agile little fuckers. Remy himself is pretty likable. He's the optimistic dreamer, and Patton Oswalt is surprisingly good in the role. The relationship between him and his family is very well developed. They love each other, even though they don't see eye to eye. His dad and brother just eat to survive, while Remy cares more for taste and wants to create. And I understand where each side is coming from. I mean, they do have to survive, and when you're basically scavenging, it's really not important what your food tastes like. My favorite parts of the movie are the stuff between Remy and Linguini. Not only do they get some of the funniest moments, but they do create a very believable friendship. And I totally buy that he is talking to a rat.
Ow! Ow! Ow!
I also love the animation logic that this is taking place in France and most of the main cast have a French accent except for Linguini. I mean, I can buy the rats, they're technically are speaking their own language, but Linguini is just speaking regular English. It's like opposite Beauty and the Beast. It does have some good comedy, and once again, the way it's directed is excellent. I love the scene where a waiter comes in saying a guest wants something new, and the camera just keeps quickly panning as they argue on what to make. It creates a lot of tension in such a short scene. The ending is great. Seriously, pretty much everything in the last 15 minutes or so is excellent. The climax involves them trying to impress some food critic, and not only is it funny and surprisingly intense, but there's a flashback scene that packs so much emotion into just a few seconds. And then the critic gives this speech that I absolutely love. That one speech covers a lot of my own feelings on critiquing and reviewing, and afterwards not everything works out perfectly for them, and I really respect that. So with all that said, you probably think I love this. Well, actually, this is probably my least favorite of Bird's films to date. Yes, I like Tomorrowland better, and we'll get to that in a couple days. But I would also say this is in the lower half of Pixar's movies for me, and probably my third least favorite of their movies they released in the 2000s after Cars and Monsters, Inc. Again, it is pretty damn good, but I do have some problems. One, Remy has this narration and it is completely useless. Like, 100% of the time, it is not needed. It is the definition of tell, don't show. Sometimes he'll just pop in at random points to explain stuff that we are literally seeing happen on screen. I'm also not a big fan of the romance. Linguini has this thing going with a woman named Colette, and I just do not buy it. It's one of those, she treats him like shit for large parts of it, then has 1 or 2 nice moments, and then they fall in love. It's actually kind of jarring. Also, Remy seems kind of jealous that Linguini is getting all this attention for the food he's cooking, which doesn't make much sense. Does he expect him to say that he has a rat cooking the meals? And as much as I love the ending, the stuff right before it I found to be very annoying. It relies on one of those misunderstandings when one character gets angry at another character, and all I'm thinking is, you kinda need him. I mean, this is pretty dumb no matter how angry you are. So yeah, Ratatouille is still a pretty good movie. I just have some issues with it that keep me from loving it. It still probably was the best Western animated movie of 2007 because that was not a great animation year, neither was 1997. or 2017. Just don't look forward to animated movies in 2027. But yeah, it still has a lot of heart, some good laughs, 2 very likable leads, and a fantastic ending. I give it a 7.5 out of 10. Well worth seeing if you haven't watched it yet, but in my opinion, Brad Bird has made better movies. And tomorrow we'll get into his first attempt at live action with the 4th Mission Impossible. See you then.